Dan RadioStyle, hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Another one in the series of making sure we get our conscious and subconscious aligned, that our inner dialogues are working properly and to our benefit, certainly. But letting things come to you, it's a very different way of looking at manifestation compared to at least where many of us are. Not all of us, many of us. But there's a difference between getting something and letting it come to you. Now, that's very similar to the unfolding that we've talked about, or unfoldment. I think even Esther Hicks has used before, but in but a moment's time, something that Goddard certainly talked about. It is that component that involves the transitioning of space and time from where we are currently of lack or limit or whatever to the place where the thing shows up in our physical world. Many of us have a hard time with that understanding that we've got it already, that it is in process, that by keeping our minds flowing in the proper direction, our mental dialogues saying similar things, that this is working out, that things are happening perfectly, that I'm seeing it unfold before me, rather than focusing on how maybe I don't do the technique right, or I'm not living in the end properly. Like, we start to doubt all these things because we don't have it. This whole process starts to happen because we don't realize that it's coming to you. We don't realize that it's not the effort we've done. It's not the thoughts we've had. It's holding the vision and feeling the wish fulfilled. Boom. Creation basically done. Now, living in the end is doing that more often, spending more time in that feeling, and certainly without a doubt, that's going to benefit you. If you're going to think thoughts that are negative or thoughts that are contrary or thoughts that doubt, that is definitely hurting you. So yes, keeping our thoughts in the proper direction will make an enormous difference. Goddard has a beautiful little, it's like a page, and it's just gorgeous. And this is out of the Awakened Imagination and the Search. I think we're still part of chapter 6, I believe. Man attracts what he is. The art of life is to sustain the feeling of the wish fulfilled and let things come to you, not go after them or think they flee away. Thinking something flee away, 1, you don't realize you have it. 2, you don't realize you're creating it yourself. And 3, you kind of have that scarcity concept to it. 4, even maybe some self-love components, right? The fleeing away concept. And it's okay if this is where we're at. Again, as I've said so many times, no one's perfect. No one in my audience is perfect. We are all flawed, beautiful gems with some rough edges here and there. It's what makes us gorgeous. It's what makes the light shine and flicker the way it does when we spin in the whatever, right? That is what makes us unique. So finding these things is the key. Knowing what we can do when we find them is also key. So paying attention and catching it's the first big step. Observe your inner talking and remember your aim. Do they match? Does your inner talking match what you would say audibly had you achieved your goal? The individual's inner speech and actions attract the conditions of his life. Through uncritical self-observation of your inner talking, you find where you are in Through uncritical self-observation of your inner talking, you find where you are in the inner world, and where you are in the inner world is what you are in the outer world. You put on the new man whenever ideals and inner speech match. In this way alone can a new man be born. Inner talking matures in the dark. From the dark, it issues into the light. The right inner speech is the speech that would be yours were you to realize your ideal. In other words, it is the speech of fulfilled desire. The inner speech that he's talking about is that inner dialogue. Those places where some of us might question, some of us might say, this is happening, I see it happening, my God, things are unfolding. It's amazing how many things I see unfolding, right? Versus saying, I don't see it, I don't see it right now, they're not talking to me, they're not texting me, the boss isn't getting back to me, I don't see how this is happening, I just see more bills. There's a glass is half full, glass is half empty kind of concept that's playing along here as well. What is the inner dialogue that you are entertaining? And if you are entertaining that glass is half empty, then these are the experiences you're going to have. This is what you're going to continue to experience. If you see it as half full, then all of a sudden there's possibilities every day. There's always an opportunity. There's always a chance. And what happens is you're seldom disappointed, that is for sure. You get to experience some of the most amazing things when you realize there's amazing things waiting for you to experience. Things towards your goal as it comes to you. There are two gifts which God has bestowed upon men alone, and no other mortal creature. These two are mind and speech. And the gift of mind and speech is equivalent to that of immortality. If a man uses these two gifts rightly, he will differ in nothing from the immortals. And when he quits the body, mind and speech will be his guides, and by them he will be brought into the troop of the gods and the souls that have attained to bliss. This is from the Hermetica, Walter Scott's translation. Essentially what he's talking about is this is how we communicate as souls. Even when we pass away, there's been a lot of things. Actually, I did a research paper on it eons ago, but some of the speculation when people pass away to the other side and still end up coming back is this whole concept of communication still exists. Tends to be more on the telepathic side, but ultimately it still tends to be words, objects, phrases, things along those lines, feelings, but very much the same kinds of experiences we have here. The circumstances and conditions of life are outpictured inner talking, solidified sound. Inner speech calls events into existence, and every event is the creative sound that is its life and being. All that a man believes and consents is true reveals itself in his inner speech. It is his word, his life. Try to notice what you are saying in yourself at this moment, to what thoughts and feelings you are consenting. They will be perfectly woven into the tapestry of your life. To change your life, you must change your inner talking. For life, said Hermes, is the union of word and the mind. When imagination matches your inner speech to fulfilled desire, there will then be a straight path in yourself from without, and that without will instantly reflect the within for you. And you will know reality is only actualized inner talking. I cannot overstate this point enough with Neville Goddard. I have been playing with this for probably almost 3.5, 4 weeks now. I have seen enormous differences just playing with the inner dialogue. Just playing with the inner dialogue. Now, part of why I do think it's significant is because I think all of us spend a larger amount of time with our inner dialogue than we do doing the techniques. Might spend a little bit of time in the morning doing meditations, might spend a little time visualizing. Ultimately, distractions most of the day. That's kind of how it plays out. So I get a lot of little mini moments where I have dialogues in my mind, where I think about things, where I have a moment, something pops into my head. And realizing and paying attention to these moments. Not necessarily trying to control everything, paying attention to them. Paying attention to what it is you're actually thinking about in your head. You will be surprised at what you find out about yourself. Many say the secret to success is to know thyself. And without a doubt, there's enormous power in that. Because when you understand how you work, when you understand how you're wired, you can then effectively work with your subconscious through guidance, through statements, through declarations. It's very easy when you understand what motivates you, how to get yourself in the direction you want to go. If it takes action, then you get yourself on a regular path. If it takes just positive things, pats on the back here and there, then you start paying attention. You maybe do a vision board of your success, whatever. You can start putting some things together that can help you see what it is that you need for your proof. But I want a lot of people to get to the place where they understand that it's not necessarily doing the technique wrong. It's not necessarily that I'm not living in the end properly. It's not those things. Listen to the voices, listen to the thoughts, listen to the conversations that you're having. I kid you not, you will find more of your answers in the times of speaking during the day, when you catch yourself thinking about the things that you desire, thinking about the people that you've got relationships with, the discussions that you will have in your mind will shape your world. There is way more power in it than anybody seems to realize. Now, maybe because it almost, one, seems too simple, and two, maybe a little effort. I got to pay attention to what I'm thinking and saying versus just thinking about someone and feeling something, which I'm already doing because I think about them all the time. Or I think about having money all the time, so that's easy. I already do it. But it's that noticing what's really going on. It's that looking in the mirror and saying, what are you currently doing? What is going on inside of you? When we do that, when we take the moment and really look at ourselves in the mirror, look at ourselves at what we're saying, the conversations going on inside ourselves, the instructions that we unknowingly give our subconscious. When we pay attention to all that, we start to figure out some very valuable things. And when we get that part working for us, when we start intentionally saying what we do want and helping shape it in the direction we'd like our subconscious to go, when we're actually making declarations to the crew of our ship, hey, here's what I would like you to do for me. Things change in a minute. Things change instantly. It is amazing. I want you to try it. It's not something I want you to believe. I want you to try it. Get yourself in it. See yourself doing it. Find a couple things you can experiment on. Change the way you have inner dialogues about that thing, traffic signals, specific people, your experience at Starbucks, whatever. Change the inner dialogue you have about something and watch how that something changes. I dare you. It's Dan Radio Style.